Guys, this movie does not need a spoiler warning, but I do think you should go out to the theaters and watch this film while you can. So with that being said, you have been warned without warning, if that makes any sense.
Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ron HD. So yeah, this is going to be a great time.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ron HD, and this week we watched the fourth film in Quentin Tarantino's filmmaking career, Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair, starring Uma Thurman and David Carradine. This film is a kung fu action revenge film. A lot of all the buzzwords in there. I do think this is a very fun film. Now, I know every Tarantino film, everybody says, oh, this is his best work. This is his best one. I don't think this is his number one best, but this has got to be one of his best. Very enjoyable, very, very good. But before I go on a whole tangent, why I really like this film, I'll tell you why and more. Back at the house.
Come on. Well, give me the gore details. And we're talking the whole shebang.
I've killed a hell of a lot of people to get to this point. And when I arrive at my destination, I am gonna kill Bill.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ronan Time HD, and this week we watched Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair, written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It is a action kung fu revenge film. It is starring I'm gonna do my best here. Uma Thurman, David Carradine, Gordon Liu, Lucy Liu, Michael Madsen, Vivica A. Fox, Daryl Hannah. Is there anyone I'm missing? I think that's good, and then I think that's good on actors, I'm pretty sure. And fight choreography by the legendary Yuan Wu Ping. This film is generally, not even generally, I think it's widely seen as a classic or a modern classic, and I cannot argue with that. I think this film is one of, if not Tarantino's strongest, especially in his genre films. I think this film oozes the most Tarantino vibe to it, right? Like, you can look at this film, obviously a lot of his films have his style, but if you watch 5 seconds of this movie, you're like, oh yeah, that's a Tarantino film, right? It just oozes his style. And I also think one of the strong aspects, obviously I've seen Kill Bill before. Any film fan worth their salt has seen Kill Bill before, but one, it was a long time ago, and two, I never got to experience it in the theater on the big screen, the silver screen. Never got to see it in its intended form. Not only was I able to see it in a true cinematic experience, a true way to watch a film, I was also able to see it in its definitive state with, since Tarantino does not consider Volume 1 and 2 separate movies, he considers them both one movie. This is the intended way he wants you to watch Kill Bill, as one flowing film. Obviously, with some extended things in there, the anime origin sequence for Lucy Liu's character in the first half was extended, which I appreciate. The animation, I really like that scene. It's very good. I like it being extended. Obviously, there was some fat that was cut that was not needed, like a recap at the beginning of the second half, because we don't need a recap. It's the same movie, and other stuff like that. But with that being said, I think, obviously, as I said before, great theater experience. But aside from that, how was the film itself? Now, I'm not a great, film analyst, right? So there's probably a lot of, deeper things in here that I didn't get or I didn't notice, because I'm not great at that. But I think, as a film itself, I think it's just really enjoyable, right? I mean, obviously, maybe not obviously. I think I just prefer the first half. That doesn't mean the second half is bad. I really like the second half as well. I just think there's something about the first half that, like, second half has sauce, right? It has the sauce, but first half has the sauce. You catch me? Like, it has all of it, right? I don't make of that what you will. I'm not even sure what it means, but it's just like, I think maybe the whole reason I love the first half so much is just that final fight, at the restaurant and with the crazy 88 and with Lucy Liu and her goons. I just think it's a great final scene. It's iconic for a reason, right? And I think most of what I remembered from Kill Bill was that entire scene in the final fight with Lucy Liu. Obviously, incredible, like, across the board. Obviously, apparently, I did not remember this, but there were some scenes that, with the violence in that scene that had to be, made black and white so that it wouldn't get an NC-17 rating. Some of the violence was too much for the rating system at the time. But luckily, in its definitive form, in a not rated film as well, I checked. There was more, of course, in a film like this, you want more violence, you want more blood fountains, you want a paper cut, you get a paper cut, and just blood goes everywhere, right? Love it. There was also a scene at the end where I guess the lawyer to Lucy Liu, she took her alive, and she'd cut off her arm, before she'd gotten into the fight with Lucy Liu and her goons. But, I didn't notice this, but in the original first part, when it was its own individual movie, she grabs her and, like, throws her off a hill to a hospital, right? But in that, she didn't have her arm, but they didn't show, Uma Thurman cutting her arm off, but people assume that's what happened. Oh yeah, she lost both of her arms. I forgot to mention that. She had no arms, essentially, when she rolled down the hill, but people didn't see that scene of Uma Thurman cutting her other arm off because that was too much for the censors at the time, I guess. That was too much violence, even though they showed her cutting off her arm the first time, and it was, like, her entire arm the first time, and this one, it was just kind of like her, like, from down here. I mean, maybe it's just like, oh, there's too many arm cuttings in this movie. We can't have 2 arm cuttings now, can we? We only have 1. And then, obviously, Volume 2, which is amazing as well. I really do like how in the first part, they don't show Bill at all. I mean, they show him, but they don't show his face. They give him, like, a bit of a mystique. He's a very enigmatic character. And I really enjoy him because obviously I want to see him die. Like, it's a whole revenge movie. He's the villain of the movie, right? And, he's a pretty despicable character. He murders her, soon-to-be husband and her friends because, he was heartbroken, right? And he overreacted a little bit, by murdering everybody and trying to murder her. So, bit of an overreaction. In his own words. One thing, there's a lot of stuff from I remembered a lot of stuff from Volume 1, but I did not remember a lot from Volume 2, so there was a lot of stuff that, like, maybe I had vague memories of from watching it the first time, but a lot of stuff, like, was kind of new to me. Obviously the ending with Bill and the whole monologue he had, and, like, their final confrontation, I remembered most of that, but I didn't remember the stuff in between. I didn't remember, like, the Mexican pimp. I didn't remember him. I didn't remember the whole scene with when she figures out she's pregnant and an assassin tries to kill her, and then she tells the assassin, and it's, like, really awkward, and the assassin's like, oh, okay, well, I'll leave you alone then. Congratulations, by the way. That was pretty funny. I like that. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff I didn't remember. But also, one thing that I don't know, I think the film itself just had a lot of charm. I think there was a lot to enjoy about it. There was a lot to like about it. And as a Kung Fu fan, there's a lot to appreciate in the second half, especially with Gordon Liu as the old master, as Pai Mei, who was actually a real, or at least a elder, like, master in Chinese folklore, which is very interesting, right? I did not know that he was based off a supposedly real person, at least a real character in myth. I don't know too much about folklore, so don't kill me if I'm misrepresenting. However, I think Gordon Liu killed it as the old master. He just had that old, like, 70s kung fu vibe, like, even his look. Like, he was great. He always was, like, you know, stroking his beard, and he was like, whoosh. He was great. And, like, his ha 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 ha. You gotta have that. In a kung fu homage, you gotta have the characters, like, laughing weird, because you can't have it without that. It's perfect. That, I don't know why I said that, but it's just a pet peeve of mine. I always gotta have it. And overall, I just really enjoyed that aspect. So, when I had first watched Volume 2, I had never really, you know, watched kung fu films before. Maybe I'd watched, like, one or two here and there, but I couldn't consider myself a kung fu fan like I consider myself now, right? So I couldn't appreciate, you know, the inherent silliness and just, I guess, greatness of Gordon Liu's character, right? He was a great character. But I couldn't appreciate it, so I thought, what is this? It's too goofy. I want it to be more serious like the first one. But I mean, it has its serious moments. I mean, I from when I was a kid, I thought, like, fucking, for some reason, I remembered Volume 2 being like a clown show. But it's not. But I thought it was when I was younger. I think it's mainly just because of the Gordon Liu stuff, but it's not that goofy. I mean, yeah, he's like a caricature, right? He's, like, exaggerated. But it's not like, it's not like he's a Looney Tunes character either. Yeah, he's goofy, but he's literally, he teaches Uma Thurman a deadly move to kill Bill at the end of the movie. He trusted her with that move, and he didn't trust Bill with that move, right? She was a better student than Bill was, which is, I assume, because he taught her and he didn't teach him. So I assume that means she was a better student. I also like how there was another revenge factor added into there with the master, because Daryl Hannah, she killed him by poisoning him, right? So then, of course, Uma Thurman had to get revenge for killing her master by blinding her. You know, since the master poked out her eye, she poked out her other eye. And it says that it was like a question mark on Daryl Hannah in the credits, because you don't technically see her die, but she's blind in a trailer in the middle of El Paso, Texas, with a black mamba. I assume she didn't make it, right? I assume she probably died. And even if she didn't, what the fuck is she gonna do? Is she gonna come back for Uma Thurman? I fucking doubt it. She's gonna be those blind swordsmen in kung fu movies. Oh, maybe she could. Maybe she could. That's a sequel idea right there. Either way, I'm just kind of rambling here, but yeah, it is a very enjoyable film, and I think you should go out and watch it. I highly recommend it, and it gets praised for a reason. Now, whatever you may think of Quentin Tarantino as a person, I am not too big of a fan of him personally, but as a filmmaker, he is undeniable, right? You may call it pretentious, I call it greatness, okay? I just think he's a great filmmaker, and I can detach his character from his clear filmmaking skills. And with that being said, I would highly recommend this film, and I would rate this film a 9 out of 10. And, yeah, I think I've said what I need to say. I think I've said my piece. So, guys, hope you like this video. Share it with friends. Subscribe. Turn those notifications on. Comment down below what you liked it. But you guys know how it goes. I didn't really mean to say that. What I really meant to say, so if you guys hated this video, unsubscribe, dislike a champ, hate me in the comments. I'm Runtime HD, off to kill Bill. You know, I guarantee Quentin Tarantino just came up with this film, and is like, what would be a fun, like, name for a movie? Well, it's like a name of a movie that rhymes. Kill Bill. I'm gonna make a whole movie about that. He's just like, that's a good name. I'm gonna make a movie about this good name for a movie. That is my headcanon. That is how he came up with this movie. I'm not taking Bill's side whatsoever.
I also feel like
when he died, I'm like, bye, bitch.
You know,
Bill
he
officially
was also,
killed.
You know, maybe a little justified. But go ahead.
Well, maybe Bill's a little justified. Maybe this and that. I don't care. At the end of the film, I was like, Bill officially killed, bitch. We smoking on that Bill pack. Anyway, either way, that's entertaining.